Hi guys, it's Rick Shiels down here at Quest Golf Academy here at Prairie Sports Village. I'm going to test the new Wilson D300 irons. D standing for distance, and I can see why. These are big irons, big, potentially forgiving, power-packed set of irons. I've got the 7, the 5 and the pitching wedge. I've just reviewed two what I would class as players irons for Wilson. The Staff 100 FG Tour irons. And then I also tested the beautiful V6 irons, which you need to see those reviews on my channel. Going from those to this is a huge difference because the loft changes on these clubs. I'm gonna hit these a long way. I just know about it. This 7 iron is 29.5 degrees of loft. So 5.5 degrees stronger lofts than the other sets of irons that they've had. They are also much bigger head shaped, very confident building head shape, massive confident building head shape. And all around the head, from the bottom, around the toe, and on top of the crown, there is visible technology. And they're calling it Flex Face. They've spelt Flex, FLX, but they're calling it Flex Face. And these little slots, can't really call them slots because I think that word's been taken, so they've used power holes. Could have thought of a better name there. Maybe power pods or power gaps or whatever. Maybe not power holes, not the best name. But for a golfer who wants distance and forgiveness, when they look down at this golf club, they can't help, I'm sure, look at power and forgiveness. Offset, yes. Strong lofted, yes. Visible technology that makes it look like a trampoline face, yes. Let's give this a hit. I've actually put this flag back in yardage. 190 I've put this flag back, and I'm not going to try and hit this hard. It's the first shot I've hit with this club. I just have the sensation this is going to go a million miles. Let's give it a hit. D300 irons with power holes and strong lofts. 7 iron first. Oh, wow. Wow, I don't think I was wrong at putting the flag further back. That carried 187 yards for a 7 iron, and 185 yards for a 7 iron, and I was not really trying to hit that super hard. That spun at 6,000, which is good. Swing speed was 2 miles per hour faster. It's a tiny bit of a lighter shaft than what I would normally use, so potentially just giving me an extra bit of club head speed, but that doesn't equate to 10 yards further carry distance than what I would normally hit. The strong loft will equate to some of that. The weight in the bottom of the club, because there's more weight in the toe and the heel at the bottom of this. And then what they're calling the flex face, I think that's what's equating to it. Those combinations of a bit of everything. Let's go again. Strong loft is the big one. That is just going forever. Slightly harder to control from that sort of distance, but they are, honestly, when I'm hitting that and I'm seeing it out on the range when I've hit it, it just looks like I'm hitting not a 3-wood, but like a hybrid. It's the ball flight it's giving me. Centered strike again. A little bit of offset might have just turned that ball slightly to the left for me normally, but it's not an unusual shot shape for me. Let's go one more with the 7. That's right on it. That is right on it. That's a ridiculous distance. That is a ridiculous distance. Just to give you an idea, and this is a kind of a bit off the cuff. Let me just hit. I'm just going to hit this V6 iron. This is the review I've just tested. I'll take this club out. I'll take this out of the comparisons. That was 185 average carry distance. If I just hit this 7 iron, this is the V6 7 iron. Next to that, I'm going to hit it the same way. Watch the difference here. That's not even going to be close. That's 15, 20 yards shorter. Now, don't forget, it's not magical. It's It's not magic powers why that's happening, it is loft differences. Look at the initial flight of the shot there, the V6 went higher, didn't travel as far because it's not as strong a loft. I will just take that shot out so that's not going to mess up our averages. Right, let's move into 5-iron. I'm slightly scared about how far this 5-iron is going to go, because the loft of this 5-iron is 23. Now for me, that is a 4+ iron. It's not quite a 4-iron, but it's like a 4+ iron. The size of this head is huge. The strength of the loft is huge. The power flex, or flex face with the power slots gives a very good visual reference on that you feel like you're going to hit it a long way. And then it's got a massive head. D is definitely for distance. This is 215 away. I'm interested to see this ball flight. Oh, I've pushed it, that's a shame. Just pushed it a little bit up the right, but look at that for distance still, and I'm not trying to hit this hard. I was a little bit off line, just to show you, obviously not going to be miracle work, and not going to make you hit the ball straight. 203 carry. Let's see where that strike location was. It felt good, but obviously it didn't come out. Yeah, it's pretty middled. I've just left the face open too much there. As I go into the longer set, as the offset gets a bit more severe, psychologically it makes me feel like I don't just want to let go of it because it's going to go left on me. That's psychologically the feeling. But if I just trust that. Ooh, just a little bit off the bottom. Not hit these quite as good as the 7-iron. Yeah, not hitting these as good. As the size of the head and the offset just kicks in, it doesn't suit my eye as much. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like it builds me with confidence that I'm going to strike the middle. But with the size of head, it's like a bucket on the size of the end of a stick. It doesn't feel like I'm going to hit it as straight. I don't feel like I can direct it as well. It's just the sensation I'm getting as I'm hitting these. Yeah, all of those just a little bit pushy, just a little bit up the right, and that's just giving you a sensation of how far they're going, even on not good shots. Still 200-ish carry distance, which again is probably about maybe 5 or 6 yards further than what I would normally see with a standard 7-iron loft at about 34 degrees. The pitching wedge. Now this is where, personally, I think they should have added just a little bit more loft on this, because this pitching wedge is 43 degrees. I think they could have tried to get this closer to about 45 degrees, you know, just tailoring off that strong loft a little bit, because I think a strong lofted pitching wedge is much harder to control. You know, this for me is a 9-iron really, a 43 degree pitching wedge. It's still a big size head, big chunky club. Put this flag at 150 away. It's probably not a good enough hit to get there actually. No, it wasn't a good enough hit more than anything. It was a bad strike. I got a little bit deep on the contact. As I've moved away from the 7, my comfortable club there in the middle, the other ends of the spectrum, the 5 and the wedge, they're just not, for me, they're not suiting my eye when I look down at it. This wedge looks too big and chunky. Feels like it's almost too big and chunky even for the golf club. It feels like it's almost got too much weight in the head, which a lot of golfers would actually like, but I'm not a massive fan of that. Yeah, I feel like I struggle with the timing of the strike. Just with the size of head when I'm looking down at it, doesn't feel like I'm going to get it there. And this is where the extreme versions of this, when you go super strong with the loft, you do lose a level of consistency of strike. You sometimes get hot shots, you sometimes get weak shots. And as this wedge, it feels too heavy on the end of this golf club, and it looks a little bit too big for me visually. I'm finding it harder to hit some good golf shots with this. That was better. That was the last one that I hit. That was much better. Actually came somewhere near the middle. But I actually felt like I had to time that more rather than actually just hit it as normal. And that's, like I say, more like a 9-iron distance for me because that loft is strong. Let's pull up the numbers and actually have a look at some averages there. I don't think the 5 and pitching wedge is going to show a real true reflection, because I didn't hit those great, but I did hit 7 irons really well. So that'll give you some idea on the perspective of how much further they're going to go. And you saw in that little snippet when I hit the V6, how different that yardage is. It's about 15, 20 yards of difference. Carry distance there I was getting off the F7, sorry, not F7, the D300 irons was 185. That's scandalous. It's ridiculous. That is long. That is so long. Ball speed is up. I normally average about 126, 125 ball speed with a 7. That was 129. Fast, fast ball speed. Equate that mainly to loft. I equate that mainly to loft being 29.5 degrees. Spin rate is not done terrible. It still managed to get close to 6,000. But as we were saying before in the other reviews, I personally like to see it a little bit more. I find that with that distance, you might just lose a little bit of that control when you get nearer to the green. The height was still incredibly impressive. 35 yards up in the air. I normally average about 32, 33 with a 7 iron. So as much as these are strong lofted and it's going forward, it's still going really high. And for me, it's going high late in the flight. It starts low and then climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs as it comes into the shot, into the top of its flight. So that was the 7 iron. 5 iron average carry distance of 201, but I'll be honest, I didn't hit any of those well at all. I just didn't like the look of the big chunky 5 iron on the end of the club. I didn't like the look of it. But I do believe it'll fill a lot of golfers with confidence when they look down at that. So that was a 201, but I don't think I hit him that well. And then the pitching wedge there, the last one was the only shot I hit well with the pitching wedge. And that carried at 146, even though the average is at 140. I felt, again, I was mentioning before, it feels too unbalanced, the 5 and the pitching wedge. Just doesn't feel right. I think if you tested these golf clubs and only hit 7, if you're after distance, you'd be like, buy. Get them now, right away. But that's why it's important to test the lofted clubs and the least lofted clubs, because you've got to get a full spectrum of how they sit. And I think there, the 7 iron, they've probably weighted it all around that. I just don't think they got the weight balance correct on the 5 and the pitching wedge, in my personal opinion. D, though, however, is for distance. But D, really, is for de-lofting golf clubs. That's all that's happening here. It's a big head with de-lofted golf clubs. I think the visual of the what they call them, power holes around the head, I think that gives a good visual. I think that builds confidence enormously. I just don't think it really does a great deal of difference, in my personal opinion. The flex face, I just don't know if it does a great deal. But I was seeing ball speed increase on the 7 iron, I must admit, but I'm not sure about that. Guys, thanks for watching. If you're looking for distance and want a big chunky set of golf clubs, have a look at these, because I think the price point of them are pretty low as well. Don't like to talk about price in a review because it changes all the way around the world, but they are a lower price point entry. And they complement the D300 driver, which I really liked a lot. Guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the videos. If you want to see any of the Wilson reviews I've done so far on my channel, I've got the Triton driver, D300 driver, the Staff FG Tour 100 irons, the V6 irons, which I loved, and then also the D300 irons in there as well. Guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, lots more to come, and we'll see you next time.